Sometimes the things we plant are more than flowers. They're hope, healing, and in my case, rebellion. My name's Grace Evans, I'm 42, and I live in Maplewood Estates, one of those suburban neighborhoods that looks perfect until you look closer. This is the story of how my HOA destroyed my garden, and how I made them regret it on national television. Blossom, the beginning. It started 2 years ago, right after my husband, Tom, passed away. The house felt empty, silent. So I started planting. At first, just a few flowers, daisies, lavender, wild roses. Then it became a full-blown garden. Butterflies came back. Bees hummed again. Kids walking home from school would stop to smell the flowers. It wasn't just a garden anymore. It was peace. Until the HOA noticed. Open mailbox with raised flag, the first warning. One morning, I found a bright yellow paper stuck to my mailbox. HOA violation notice. Apparently, my garden didn't fit community standards. They wanted only turf grass and pre-approved plants. They said my garden looked messy and wild. I called the HOA office, thinking it was a misunderstanding. The president, Diane Holloway, answered with a voice that could freeze water. "Mrs. Evans, we have aesthetic rules for a reason. Your yard lowers property values." I took a breath. "It brings joy to people." She replied coldly, "It's not about joy, it's about uniformity." Uniformity. Like we were all supposed to live in copy-paste houses with no soul. Herb, the warning turns into war. A week later, I got a second letter, $100 fine per day until the unauthorized vegetation was removed. They even threatened legal action. So I fought back the best way I knew, with kindness. I printed small wooden signs and stuck them around the garden. Planted in memory of Tom Evans. Here nature lives free. Neighbors started stopping by, leaving notes. One said, "Don't let them take this away." But the HOA didn't care. Tractor the destruction. I'll never forget that morning. A Friday, 8:15 a.m. I heard engines outside and went running out barefoot. A landscaping crew, hired by the HOA, was tearing up my garden. My lavender, my roses, my daisies. Gone. "Stop," I shouted. "This is private property." One of the workers said quietly, "Ma'am, we're just following orders." And just like that, 2 years of love and healing were reduced to dirt. I dropped to my knees. The smell of crushed flowers filled the air. It felt like they'd buried Tom all over again. Fire, the breaking point. That night, I didn't sleep. I scrolled through my phone, hundreds of photos of the garden I'd taken over the months. Butterflies landing on flowers. Children picking petals. Sunlight through lavender. Then I had an idea. I opened my laptop, created a folder titled HOA versus Humanity, and started uploading everything. Photos, videos, before and after shots. And then I wrote a post on Facebook. My HOA destroyed the garden I planted in memory of my husband. They said it was uniform enough. But this was never about uniformity, it was about life. Globe showing Europe, Africa, the explosion. By morning, the post had 10,000 shares. By evening, over 1 million views. Local news picked it up, then national outlets. Reporters showed up at my door. "Mrs. Evans, how do you feel?" I said, like nature will always find a way, even in concrete. The next day, my story was on Good Morning America. Even the city mayor tweeted, "What Maplewood HOA did is unacceptable. Nature belongs to everyone. Balance the fallout." Under pressure, the HOA released a statement. We were only enforcing community rules. But it didn't matter. Public opinion had turned. Hundreds of people showed up outside the HOA office with flowers. Children held signs that said, "Let Grace's garden grow." The city council passed an emergency ordinance, the Pollinator Protection Act. It made it illegal for any HOA to ban pollinator-friendly plants like lavender and wildflowers. And the best part, the city declared my property a community pollinator zone. The HOA had to send me a letter of compliance. Hibiscus, the ending. Months later, my garden bloomed again, bigger and brighter than ever. Volunteers helped replant everything. Even Tom's favorite roses came back stronger. And one morning, I saw Diane, the HOA president, walking by. She looked down at the flowers, then at me. I smiled. "Beautiful, isn't it?" She just nodded and walked away. Now every spring, the whole neighborhood smells like lavender. And on the edge of the garden, there's a small wooden sign. You can cut the flowers, but you can't stop them from growing back. Fade out, soft piano music. Camera pans across a garden full of color, butterflies, and sunlight.